Assalamu alaikum dear students, welcome back to GBI digital classes. Students, as you know, in our previous lectures we were discussing about the basis of a classification of a kingdom Animalia. We have already discussed some basis of a classification, and we are continuing with the same topic, that is the basis of a classification of kingdom Animalia. Dear students, in our previous lecture we were discussing the various physiological systems on the basis of which different animals were categorized. We have already discussed the digestive system, we have discussed the respiratory system, we have discussed the circulatory system. Today the system we are discussing is excretory system. Students, जब हम एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम की बात करते हैं, which is a system which is responsible for the removal of a toxic substances out from the body. और हम देखते हैं कि animals have chosen the two different types of excretory systems for the removal of the unwanted substances, and those two types are, the first one is glandular type and the second one is tubular type. जब हम ग्लैंडुलर टाइप की बात करते हैं, यहाँ पे there is the presence of a large cell which is connected to the excretory pore by a duct, and the duct opens into the ampulla. I am repeating it. Here there is the presence of a large cell which is connected to the excretory pore by the duct, and this excretory pore then opens into ampulla. And when we talk about the tubular type, in this type there are the presence of two or more than two longitudinal canals. These two canals or more than two canals are then interconnected by the crisscross canals. And then these open to the excretory pore by the presence of a medial ducts, thus leading to the formation of either the H-shaped, Y-shaped or the Y-shaped excretory systems. I am repeating it once again. When we talk about the tubular type, here there is the presence of two or more longitudinal canals. These two canals are interconnected by the crisscross canals. Then these crisscross canals open into the excretory pore with the presence of a medial duct, thus lead to the formation of H or Y-shaped excretory systems. That means we can have the two important categories of animals. Some may be possessing the glandular type of excretory system, and some may be possessing the tubular type of excretory system. Now let's move to another physiological system, and that is the nervous system. We have the animals having the different type of nervous systems. There are the primitive type of nervous systems where the animals possess a network of nerves only. Then there are certain animals which possess a ventral solid nerve cord, and this nerve cord possesses the ganglions. And there are the advanced type of animals which possess the three different types of nervous systems: the peripheral nervous system, the central nervous system, and the third one, autonomic nervous system. That That means, dear students, while going through the different phyla, different classes of a kingdom Animalia, will be able to see the animals, which some are possessing only the network of the nerves, some may be possessing the ganglions, some may be possessing both the three systems, that means the peripheral nervous system, central nervous system, or the autonomic nervous system. Then let's move to the another type of a system, that is a skeletal system. Animals possess the two different types of skeletons. There are the animals which possess the exoskeleton, and there are the animals which possess the endoskeleton. जब हम exoskeleton की बात करते हैं, the name itself says it's a skeleton which is present outside the body, and the skeleton is made up of the dead structures. जैसे in case of arthropods, there are the presence of the chitinous plates. And when we talk about the endoskeleton, the name itself says the skeleton which is present inside the body, and it is made up of the living structures like the bones and cartilage. Just the example of vertebrates. There are also the animals which possess the presence of both the things, the exoskeleton as well as the endoskeleton, where the exoskeleton, for example, in case of a vertebrate, is the presence of humans, nails and hair, and endoskeleton, bones and cartilage. That means we can see the animals, some may be possessing the exoskeleton only, some may be possessing the endoskeleton only, and some may be the animals possessing both the exoskeleton as well as the endoskeleton. Dear students, besides these different types of physiological systems that we have discussed in a previous lecture, and we have discussed some points here, there is also another basis of a classification, and the basis is symmetry. Dear students, the term symmetry means the similarity of a body parts in the different regions, in the different directions of body. Similarity of a different parts in different regions or directions of a body is termed as a symmetry. Now, depending upon the similarity of a different parts or arrangement of a different parts, we have the two important categories of animals. We have certain animals which possess the symmetry, and they are termed as symmetrical animals. And there are certain animals which do not possess this important feature, which do not have the similarity of a different parts in a different regions or directions, and they are termed as asymmetrical animals. That means on the basis of a symmetry, we can have the two important classes of animals. We have the symmetrical animals and we have the asymmetrical animals. Now, the question here is, what kind of a symmetry, if they are symmetrical, what kind of symmetry they possess? Now, depending upon the plan of a division, depending upon the similarity of how their body parts are, we have the different types of asymmetrical animals. That means there are the sub-categories of the symmetrical animals. There are certain animals which possess the spherical symmetry. There are certain animals which possess the radial symmetry. And there are certain animals which possess the bilateral symmetry. Students, when we talk about the spherical symmetry, it's a symmetry, it's a type of a symmetry where the animals are typically circular in shape, they are round in shape, so that any plane of a division passing through the body divides the animal into the two equal halves. For example, this is a circle, this is a round shape. If I am trying to divide it in this plane, it will be divided into the two equal planes. अगर मैं यहाँ से divide करना चाहूँ तब भी दो equal हिस्से होंगे. अगर मैं यहाँ से divide करना चाहूँ तब भी दो equal हिस्से होंगे. अगर मैं यहाँ से divide करना चाहूँ तब भी दो equal हिस्से होंगे. That means यहाँ पे shape ऐसी होती है कि center से होकर किसी भी plane से अगर मैं divide करना चाहूँ तो the animal will be divided into the two equal halves. When we talk about the radial symmetry, here the shape having the circular shape is not necessary, but here the body parts radiating from the center, for example this is the center part, body parts radiating from the center are in such an arrangement, are in such a direction that any plane passing through the center divides the organism into the two equal halves. मैं फिर से बता रही हूँ, यहाँ पे जो ऑर्गेनिज्म है वो राउंड होता है शेप में, वो सर्कुलर होता है शेप में, तो सेंटर से होकर किसी भी प्लेन से उस ऑर्गेनिज्म के दो इक्वल हिस्से होते हैं. रेडियल सिमेट्री में क्या है कि जो सेंटर पॉइंट है वहां से बॉडी ऑर्गन जो है वो रेडिएट इस तरह से होते हैं कि सेंटर से कोई भी प्लेन इस ऑर्गेनिज्म को इक्वल हिस्सों में डिवाइड कर लेता है. When we talk about the bilateral symmetry, students, here the left side of a body part is said to be the mirror image of the right hand side. For example, look at me. This portion is the mirror image of this portion. Here, my limbs are in a pair, my hind limbs are in a pair, eyes are two, nose with the two nostrils. तो यहाँ पे दो mirror images होती है, so that a single plane divides the organism into the two equal halves. That means if someone wants to divide me into the two equal halves, this will be the division where I will be divided into the two equal halves, one portion from this side and one portion from this side. That means bilateral symmetry ऐसी symmetry होती है जहाँ पे दो portions, they are the mirror images of one another, so that a single plane divides the organism into the two equal halves. That means here the single plane. Here the shape is spherical, but here the portions radiating from center are in such a way that any plane divides them into the two equal halves. That means we will be able to see the animals. Some may be possessing the spherical symmetry, some may be possessing the radial symmetry, and there will be some possessing the bilateral symmetry. Now, dear students, there are also the process of reproduction, which is also involved in the classification of animals. When we talk about the reproduction, it's a process by which the organisms are able to continue their generations. And organisms have adapted the two important methods for their continuation, and those two important methods are the asexual reproduction and the sexual reproduction. Students, you all are aware, asexual reproduction is a method where there is neither the fusion nor the formation of gametes. There are the other alternative methods by which the organism maintain the race, continue the race. The methods which are included within the asexual reproduction are the binary fission, which you might have gone through in your previous class. Then there is a multiple fission. Then there is fragmentation. Then there is a power of regeneration. That means here there is not the involvement of an ova or sperm. And when we talk about the sexual reproduction, we know it very well. It's a process where there is a formation as well as a fusion of a gamete. That means here the formation of an ova as well as sperm takes place, and their fusion results in the formation of an individual. We can see in the asexual reproduction the new daughters, the offspring produced are identical to their parents, but we can see the variation in case of asexual reproduction. That means the main attribution of the diversity of a life that we can see in our planet Earth is all because of this beautiful process, the process of asexual reproduction. Then same in the process of reproduction, we can see certain animals which get developed directly. There is no alternative stage in between adulthood and in between the infancy, in between the origin. But we can see the certain animals where there are the sub-stages, the larval stages are there. That means as per development, we have the two important methods. We have the direct development and we have the indirect development. The indirect development involves the presence of different types of a larvae. In our previous class, in our upcoming classes, we'll be able to see the different larval stages in the different phyla, in the different classes of the kingdom Animalia. Dear students, we have discussed the basis of a classification of a kingdom Animalia. These all bases were taken into the consideration, and kingdom Animalia was subdivided into the two sub-kingdoms, and those two sub-kingdoms are the sub-kingdom Parazoa and the sub-kingdom Eumetazoa. The sub-kingdom Parazoa includes the phylum Porifera, and then Eumetazoa includes many phyla. The first phylum is phylum Cnidaria, or we can say the phylum Coelenterata. The second phylum is phylum Ctenophora. Then we have the phylum Platyhelminthes. Then we have the phylum Nematoda. Then we have phylum Annelida. Then we have phylum Arthropoda. Then we have phylum Mollusca. Then we have phylum Echinodermata. Then we have phylum Hemichordata. And we have phylum Chordata. Dear students, this is just the outline of a classification of a kingdom Animalia on the basis of a feature that we have discussed earlier. The kingdom Animalia is divided into the two sub-kingdoms, the Parazoa, which includes the phylum Porifera. Then we have the Eumetazoa, which includes the phylum Coelenterata, phylum Ctenophora, phylum Platyhelminthes, or commonly known as the flatworms. Then we have the nematodes, the roundworms. Then we have the Annelida, the segmented worms. Then we have the Arthropoda, the animals possessing the jointed appendages. Then we have the phylum Mollusca, the soft-bodied animals. Then we have the phylum Echinodermata, the animals possessing the spines. Then we have the phylum Hemichordata, and then we have the phylum Chordata. The phylum Chordata is then again classified into the three subdivisions. We have the Eurochordata, phylum Chordata is further divided into the three subphyla. we have the Chordata, we have the Phylum Chordata, and we have the Vertebrata. Dear student, this is just the outline of the basis of a classification of the kingdom Animalia, as well as the outline of how, on the basis of the classifications features that we have discussed, the kingdom Animalia is classified. In our next lectures, inshallah, we are going to discuss each phylum, each class in detail. That's all for me. Thank you very much.